Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel if you are new here. My name is Carolyn and today I am continuing on with my bookshelf tour series and specifically my classics collection. So if you haven't seen, I have a whole playlist of videos all about my bookshelf tours and my classics collection, all the books that I own, and now I am up to my Penguin English Library books and my Penguin Clothbound classics. These are some of my favorite editions and I can't wait to show them to you. My last episode was all about my Pan Macmillan books. I told you guys the pros and cons of them, what I liked, what I didn't like, and if you guys should collect them as well, and that's what I'm going to be doing today with the Clothbound and English Library books. I'm very excited to show you guys which ones I have and to tell you a little bit more about them. These, especially my Clothbounds, are kind of my prized possessions of my bookshelves because they're sort of my trophy books, I call them, but anyway, I will get more into that a little bit later, but let's look at some books. Okay, so here we have all of my Penguin English Library books. To start out, I just have this little wreath that my mom got, one for me and one for my sister, so I just keep it up on my shelf, but I'll move it for now. The first one that I have on the left is Charlotte Bronte's Shirley. Someone was giving it away on their Instagram years ago. This edition is no longer in stock, they don't print it anymore, and it's the older version, so it's like this nice buttery material. The other ones are a bit more like paper. This one's a bit buttery, if that makes any sense. I actually haven't read Shirley yet. I really want to, but that is the first one that I have. I love this edition because it's special, because it's not printed anymore, and it was actually an old library edition. We even have the famous Charlotte Bronte sketch on the inside, and the paper is actually... Oh, I forgot I have a bookmark in there. Oh my gosh. Well, here's an old bookmark of mine that I don't even know why it was in there because I've never read it before. Anyway, I love this one because it's out of print and it's just extra special, so I'm excited to eventually read it. The reason why I'm so excited about this book is because of Lucy the Reader. This is one of her favorite books, or if not her favorite book, so I'm very excited to eventually read it. So that's my first one. And then I have Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I love how striking it is, and just the cover design is amazing. I actually forgot to say I was mentored by Corley Bickford Smith, who is the designer of the Penguin English Library and Clothbound series, in my senior year of college, which was an incredible experience. She was amazing. She was such a wonderful mentor, and that's an extra special reason why I love these books so much. So anyway, I have Villette. I haven't read it yet. This is another one that I'm very excited to read just because Jane Eyre is one of my favorite books. Then the next one, we are sticking with the Brontes. I have The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I have read this book. I love this cover. It reminds me a lot of Toile, the fabric. I love this story. It is so proto-feminist and just an incredible story for the time that it was written in, and I give Anne Bronte so much credit for writing such a story. And then the next one that I have is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I actually have not read North and South. This is one of the books that I'm the most ashamed of to have not read, but I've heard amazing things about it. I've seen the miniseries. I love the miniseries. I don't know why I'm not reading it. I think because I know I'm going to love it, which makes no sense. So anyway, that's North and South. Then we are starting with my Jane Austen books. The first book that I have is this huge one, and that is the complete novels of Jane Austen. And again, Corley Bickford Smith, she came out with this. I remember the second she posted it on her Instagram, I freaked out because I loved the color. I loved this pink with the man and woman dancing on it. I don't think I'm ever actually going to read the stories from this edition. I just love having it. So is it kind of impractical for me to have a book that I'm not going to read? Yes, but we will even get worse and more into that when I talk about my Clothbounds. And then the next one that I have is Pride and Prejudice. I just love this color. My favorite thing about the Penguin English Library books is how they all go together so beautifully, but they're all so colorful and different. So I love this edition of Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite books ever, one of my first classics that I read. Then we have Emma by Jane Austen, obviously by Jane Austen, and I have my little sticky tabs in them as well from when I first read this, and I love it. It's probably my second favorite, maybe tied for first with Pride and Prejudice. Again, I love the colors, I love the pattern. The paper quality is so great, and they're just super easy to read, very floppy, which is just the best. And they're really nice to annotate in because there's plenty of room for annotations and writing notes and everything. Then I have Mansfield Park. I actually haven't read this one yet. I'm very excited to. Again, I love the cover design. I love the colors. I don't know too much about what Mansfield Park is about, and I kind of want to keep it that way. And then we have, I think it's Sanditon or Sanditon. I'm really not sure how you pronounce it. Again, love the cover, love the colors. I know that there is a recent movie or TV show adaptation. I actually haven't watched it yet, but I'm very excited to. I love how the birds escape the border and come out onto this like dark blue section of the book. I don't know if all of them do that. Yeah, I don't think many of them do that. So I just love how the birds are escaping, kind of like they're flying away out of the cover design. I also love the birds sitting on the umbrellas. Then the next one I have is Charles Dickens, David Copperfield. Again, haven't read David Copperfield. We will be reading it eventually for the Dickens vs. Tolstoy book club, but very excited to get to it eventually. I don't know the significance of the donkeys or the horseshoes, or the donkey shoes, so I'm excited to see what the significance of that is. Again, love this color. I love greens and blues, but honestly I love every color in the rainbow. And I love how this is kind of like a subtle rainbow. It's not in your face. I feel like the colors go so beautifully together. I just love how they look side by side. Then I have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, another one that I have yet to read. We are going to again read it for the book club, all of Dickens' books, all of Tolstoy's books, so I'm excited about that. I have heard such incredible things about it. I literally haven't heard one bad thing about A Tale of Two Cities. Again, love the cover, love this edition. Super floppy, perfect for annotating. The text is really nice. It's not too small, it's not too big. These editions are just fantastic to read from. Then I have Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I love Thomas Hardy. Again, love this cover. There's something about the bees that is just so pleasing to the eye. And these colors. Wow, Willow is very excited. Then we have one of my favorite books, and that is Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. What is Willow barking at? If you don't know, that's my dog Willow. She's in quite a lot of my videos. Anyway, I love Tess of the D'Urbervilles. This is one of my favorite books ever, as you can probably tell from all of these tabs. Again, beautiful. Oh, I did annotate this one a little bit. I wrote some notes in the margins. Yeah, so an amazing book, heartbreaking, one of the books that has made me cry the most. I love this story so much. I love these editions. Reading from them is so satisfying. I feel like there are certain editions that I read from and it's like just the experience of reading the book is so satisfying. Anyway, then we have Kate Chopin's The Awakening. This is another one that I haven't read yet. Again, beautiful cover design. Everything Corley Bickford Smith does, I adore, and I love it. I hope to read The Awakening soon. I think this is on the Rory Gilmore reading list, so I think that was the initial reason why I picked this story up, but I know that it's supposed to be amazing, so I'm excited to get to it. What is Willow barking at? That's so funny. Then I have one of my favorite books, Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Again, say it with me. Love the cover, love the colors. The design is perfect. This is actually one of my favorite scenes from the book, is when there are some sky typers or sky writers, whichever way you say it. And I love the gray and the pink and the white. I just feel like these colors go so well together. And again, one of my favorite books. Then the next one that I have is Howard's End by E.M. Forster. E.M. Forster is one of my favorite authors. Again, beautiful cover design. I love the significance of the umbrellas because an umbrella plays a very big part in this story, and I just, again, think the colors go so beautifully together and really match the atmosphere of the book. I feel like that's something that Corley does so well, is she matches the colors perfectly with the atmosphere and the mood of the story. So that's something that I love too. Willow! she's whining. She wants attention, I think. Then we have another one of my favorite books ever, and that is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. I adore this cover design. I think it fits the story so perfectly. I love everything about it. I also annotated this edition, and this book is just one of my absolute favorites. So if you haven't read it, please, please, please read it. E.M. Forster is incredible. My best friend Emma from her YouTube channel, Emmy, actually just read it for a 24-hour readathon that we literally just did. It was our last videos, and you can hear what she thinks about it. It's one of my favorite books, and I was so excited to see her read it. And then my second to last English library book, Willow! She's howling. The next E.M. Forster book I have is Where Angels Fear to Tread. I, again, love the colors. I love these olive branches. This is partially set in Italy, or fully set in Italy. I'm not too sure. I'm so sorry about Willow's barking. I'll go check on her. But I'm excited to read this one. I wanted to read it this summer but never got to it, so maybe I can squeeze it in. I might have to read it in the autumn, I don't know. Or save it for next summer, but I don't really want to save it for next summer. I really try to read an E.M. Forster book every year. And then the last English library book I have is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. This is one of my favorite cover designs. I love windows in general. I really love when shadows fall in through windows. If you go on my Instagram, you can see I have a lot of pictures of windows and shadows from windows. So fun fact about me. Also, this is some of my favorite colors. My favorite colors are blue and green, and anything in between blue and green, so this is just so pleasing to my eye. I don't love the story of Peter Pan. I grew up watching the Disney animation, obviously, as many of us did, and I didn't grow up reading the book, and when I did, I was a little bit disappointed, but that was a few years ago, so maybe my opinion would change now. But I remember reading it and not adoring it like I love the movie, so that's just my opinion. But again, love these editions so much. The back always has nice little blurbs as well that I don't think give too much away, because sometimes classics can give a lot away. But those are all of my English library books, and just like how beautiful do they look together. It's this beautiful rainbow, but it's not overpowering, and it's not too much. I feel like sometimes when I put a lot of colorful books together, it's a little too much, but these I just think are so perfect. I will put my little wreath back up and we will move on to my Clothbounds, but I'm gonna go check on Willow first because I want to make sure she's okay. Okay, Willow is fine. She's just wants attention. So anyway, these are all of my Clothbounds now. I adore my Clothbound collection. It is my prized possession, probably my favorite part of my bookshelves. This whole bookshelf is just my favorite bookshelf ever. But I'm so in love with these, and they kind of document my whole reading life. Anyway, I will get more into that in a little bit. And I kind of did it in sort of a rainbow, where it goes from darker to lighter. The first book I have is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, one of my favorite classics ever. So the thing about my Clothbounds is they are my favorite books. I always get my Clothbounds as trophy books that I won't read. I'll get more into that in a little bit, but anyway, these are all of my favorite books. So if you want to know anything about me and what my favorite classics are, these are them. So we have The Picture of Dorian Gray. Love the colors. I think it fits the mood of the story so well. The black and white is just so striking, and I love the peacock pattern. It's just gorgeous, and this is one of my favorite books. It's beautiful. I love it. And oh, it was actually a gift from my friend Kiara. She had it and didn't want her Clothbounds anymore, so she gifted a few of them to me, and this is one of them. So Kiara, thank you so much for helping me grow my collection of Clothbounds. I love you very much, and so happy to have this to my collection and to think of you when I look at it. The next one I have was my trophy for finishing War and Peace, and that is the Clothbound edition of War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. How gorgeous is this cover? I mean, are you kidding me? I love navy blue. I love so many colors. See, this is That's the thing about me. I say I have a favorite color, but I love all colors. I do have a thing for stars, and this is supposed to signify the Comet of 1812, which I love the pattern of because that scene in War and Peace of the Comet of 1812 is one of my favorite scenes. And anyway, you guys can see from my wrist, I have 3 stars tattooed on my wrist. They're actually from The Little Prince, but any stars on anything, I love stars so much. And it's just, look at how stunning. Oh, and I keep these on because if you peel them off, it takes off the pattern, which I will get more into in a little bit, but it's just so beautiful. I can't get over it. It's gorgeous. Then we have another one of my most prized possessions, and that is my Clothbound Anna Karenina. This was my trophy for finishing Anna Karenina for the first time. I was so excited to get this edition. I first read it in the Pan Macmillans, which you can see right there. I love the Pan Macmillans, but this was my trophy for finishing. And I adore the pattern. I love the colors. There's also a new version, which is kind of like a burgundy color, and a pink, which I love together, and I really want to get it, but I already have this edition, so it kind of doesn't make sense to get another edition of the same exact book of Anna Karenina that I won't be reading. So anyway, it's gorgeous. I mean, yeah, so that's kind of what happens if you take the sticker off, which is one of my cons of Clothbound Classics. They're just so beautiful. I'm gonna keep saying it. They're just so beautiful. And they're gorgeously made. Like, they're expensive for a reason because they're beautifully made. Then the next one that I have is another one that I got from my friend Kiara, and that's Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Again, love the colors. Recently, I've been loving brown. Anything brown, I don't know why. I have a brown shirt on right now, and I love the contrast with the pink. It has scissors on there because of one scene involving the main character, Jo. I won't say too much, I don't want to spoil it, but again, so beautiful. I just love how it looks. And also, there's something so satisfying about the material of the cloth itself. It's so satisfying. Oh my god. Then the next one I have is one that I actually haven't read yet, but that is Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. And this is kind of a retelling, or I guess a reimagining for the character Bertha in Jane Eyre. I won't say who Bertha is for spoilers reasons, but this is a story that I'm so excited to read because it's giving a character that doesn't really have a voice in Jane Eyre. It gives her a voice in this story, and I'm apprehensive to read it, although I know so many people love this story. I mean, look at those colors. Just absolutely gorgeous. So beautiful. And then the next one I have it next to Jane Eyre for obvious reasons. And this is another one of my prized possessions because Jane Eyre is the classic that got me into reading classics. And again, it was the trophy for finishing Jane Eyre for the first time. So every time I finish a classic and it becomes a favorite, I get it in Clothbound as a trophy, and then I don't read it. That's ultimately what I do. And it makes sense to me. It might not make sense to you. I see myself as a book collector as well as a reader. I always read from my Penguin English library books, the paperbacks that I just showed you, and I don't read from these. So these are kind of just the ones that I collect for aesthetic purposes. Then I have it next to Wuthering Heights by her sister Emily Bronte. Again, love the colors, love the pattern. It goes so well with the story. It just is Wuthering Heights. Like this pattern fits the story so perfectly, and the colors, it's just genius cover design in my humble opinion. And I'm not just saying that because I love Corley, but anyway, so just so beautiful. And even Jane Eyre, the colors of the gray that go together, this is a slightly lighter gray than this one, and they just fit the Bronte, the moors, the fog, the atmosphere of the stories so well. And then I have Tess the D'Urbervilles, again, because I wanted it in this beautiful clothbound edition. Again, I love this green color. I love how it matches with the red. The complementary colors are so beautiful and vivid together. Look at that. Oh, just the detail in it. I can't get over it. I love these so much. And then the next one I have is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I read Persuasion a few years ago, and to be honest, I didn't love it, and I want to reread it because I feel like I would have a better appreciation for it now. But again, love this cover. I love the feathers, love the color. It's just gorgeous. So that's Persuasion. Again, we have the marking, which is so sad, but at least it's on the back. Then I have the last one that Kiara gifted to me, and that is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I actually haven't read Sense and Sensibility yet, so this one, Sense and Sensibility and Wide Sargasso Sea, are the only ones of my Clothbounds that I haven't read. But I hope to read Sense and Sensibility relatively soon. I try to read a Jane Austen every year. I didn't read one last year. I want to read Northanger Abbey. I'm thinking in the autumn with my friend Sarah. So hopefully we will get to that because we've been trying to do that buddy read forever. But love these colors together. Then we have Pride and Prejudice, which matches the paperback of the English library that I just showed you. It's the same pattern but a little bit different. And I love these colors. I love mustard yellow on certain things, not on all things, but I think on this book it's just stunning. Just the detail that is captured in her designs is so beautiful. Then next I have Don Quixote by Cervantes. This is another trophy that I bought myself when I finished. Oh, actually, I didn't buy it. I asked for it, I think for Easter. My parents gave it to me. I love the pattern of the different knight errants. I love how he's holding a book here, and he's holding his shield here. I just think it's such smart cover design, and again, absolutely beautiful. So that is Don Quixote. Then the second to last one I have is Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Again, such genius cover design because of the scene where Alice uses the flamingo as a croquet. What are they called? I don't know what they're called. I can't think of the word. Oh, that's gonna bother me. I think it goes so well with the story and fits the mood perfectly. I got this edition because a painting that I made for an Alice in Wonderland book cover redesign of my Red Rabbit. I don't know if you guys have, if you're new here, if you are not new here, you know what the Red Rabbit is, probably. I won first place in the Society of Illustrators student scholarship competition for a painting I did of a redesign of Alice in Wonderland book cover. And I got this edition as a little celebration because these are my trophy books, and also because Corley mentored me. I thought it was extra special. She didn't mentor me for that painting, but it was the same year. So I just thought that this would be a perfect little congratulatory present for myself, which actually my parents got me, so that's very nice. Then my last Clothbound is actually a mini version, and this one was gifted to me by my best friends Anna and Brian. This is the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories, edited by Jessica Harrison. I love, 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 love how tiny this is. Something about me, I love small books, so in comparison, this is the Pan Macmillan edition. This one's just a little bit smaller, as you can see, than the traditional penguins, but Coralie is actually coming out with smaller Clothbounds, and I was so excited to see that she was doing that. I don't know how much smaller they are compared to this edition, so I'll have to get some and add it to my collection and let you guys know how much smaller they are. But I love this pattern. I love the trees. I'm a big fan of trees, and then I love the stars and the birds, just everything about this. I also love how the title is kind of in this little square in the front, which is not how the other ones are. The other ones, the title is up here, the author is down here. I just love the different formatting, is beautiful. I actually haven't read anything from this edition yet, but I know my friend Anna has, and I believe, oh yeah, on the back it has a little quote, which I think is so nice. The other ones, obviously you saw, didn't have any quotes or anything on the back, but I love that that has a quote on the back. This one has, I'll just show you the contents. My neighbor is gonna start landscaping. They always do this to me. I will show you the contents. So that's what is in the book. So that is what is in there. It starts with Hans Christian Andersen's The Fir Tree. That's the one that my friend Anna was reading, and she asked me if I read it, and she was saying that it was so horribly sad. And I was like, I know, it's one of my favorites because I just love sad stories. I don't know what that says about me. I love to cry when I read. So those are all of my Penguin Clothbound classics, and I love them. They're so beautiful, and I can't wait to keep collecting them. But anyway, I'm going to start talking to you guys about the pros and cons, and if you should collect them too, and what I think about them. So let's get into that. Really quickly, before I get into that, I actually thought I would just show you the leather bounds that I have in this little section. It's just the corner of where it meets my cloth bounds in the corner of my wall, and the first one that I have is The Vicar of Wakefield, which I actually got from my local independent bookshop, which isn't opened anymore, and they closed down, and this is one of the last books that I got. My book fell. How beautiful is this edition? I forgot when it was printed. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at this paper and that illustration. It's so beautiful. It was printed in London for Macmillan & Co. and New York. Okay, this is a second edition from 1891. Oh, so beautiful. So yes, I love antique books. I love the gold foil. I love the green. I love the font. Everything about this book is so beautiful. So I always keep this one in the corner, but it fell, so we will just stick it there. All of these are gonna fall now. Then the next book I have, I also got from that same bookshop. Again, beautiful gold foil. Love the pattern. Days Off by Henry Van Dyke. I have no idea what this book is about. I saw it and I thought it was beautiful, and I read a little bit about this book. It sounded really interesting. To be honest, that was a while ago and I don't remember what it's about, but I mean, it's so beautiful, and I forgot when this was printed as well. So it says it's reprinted in February 1908. That's so cool. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I haven't read this book yet. I have heard mixed things about it, so I'm not sure what I'm going to think when I read it. To be honest, I don't remember where I got this edition. Somewhere secondhand, either a secondhand bookshop or possibly my library, but I don't remember. So sorry, that's that. And then the next one that I have, this one is kind of coming apart a little bit, so I just try to stick it together. This is a beautiful edition of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I love green leather bounds with gold foil. You will see that many of them look like that. Wow, look at those end papers, gorgeous. This is a collection distributed by Heron Books. And it's a centennial edition. There's a beautiful portrait of Dickens. Love that beard. Then the next book I have is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen in this beautiful edition as well. I'm not sure which publisher this is. Oh, look at those end papers. This is from Guild Publishing London. So that is that. And then I have, they're from the same edition, publishers. They're the same editions. This one is The Old Curiosity Shop by Charles Dickens. So beautiful. Again, looks the same thing, same color. And then the last one that I have is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Then I have For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, which, if you guys know me, I love Hemingway. And this edition is also gorgeous. Love the navy blue with the gold foil. This is the International Collectors Library. Again, I got that secondhand. The next one is the same edition, and that is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, which I actually haven't read Gone with the Wind yet, but you guys recommend it to me all the time. And then the second to last edition I have is Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. This is from the same publisher, International Collectors Library. I also got this one secondhand as well. Then the last book I have is one of my first older editions, and I got this at the Strand in New York City when I went there for the first time. So this book has a very special place in my heart because it encapsulates my first trip to the Strand bookshop, and that is Wuthering Heights, Great Illustrated Classics, and it is from Dodd, Mead and Company. I don't know if I've ever heard of that company before. I don't even know if they still print books. And it is from 1948. And then we have a portrait of Emily Bronte, which is just so cool. And then we have some photographs. Here's another one. Here's another one. It says that it's illustrated, but I think maybe illustrated as in photographs, because these look like photographs, not really drawn illustrations, which is interesting. So those are all of the books that I have over here. So those are all of my Penguin English Library and Clothbounds and my leatherbound books as a little added bonus. Now I'm going to tell you guys if they're worth collecting, their pros and cons, and all of that information. So I'm going to start with the Penguin English Library books. These ones I love so much to read from. You can read them well, you can throw them in your bag, you can read them over and over and over again, you can get your hands all in them, you can bend them every which way, and they will pretty much stay in good condition. Obviously, if you bend them like crazy, then they're going to warp, and the paper isn't super sturdy. I mean, it is sturdy, but you know, if you bend it, it's going to stay bent, obviously. But what I mean is that you can really handle these well, and they will stay in relatively good condition. I love the paper quality. I don't think it's super thin. I think for a regular paperback, the paper quality is pretty good. It has that nice texture to it. I love the font. The font isn't too big, it isn't too small, and there's perfect room in the margins for a lot of annotating, a lot of notes. You could see I wrote in the margin of this section. I just think these are perfect to read from. And I do love what they put on the back, because I don't feel like they give too much away, but I think it gives you enough to intrigue you, and I really like that. A lot of classics tend to give the plot away in the beginning. It goes right into the story, so I don't think there are any notes at all in these editions. At the end, we have a very short section of where it's a little notes on the story, but if you're reading this for textual information, a chronology, notes, biography about the author, if you're looking for more information about the background of the story and not just the story itself, these aren't the best for that. If you just want a beautiful edition that wears really well, has gorgeous colors and cover design, but it doesn't have a bunch of textual information, that's this, pretty much. The spines rarely crack because they're so floppy, so if you hate cracked spines, these rarely crack. Even when they do, it's not super noticeable, so I just feel like these are so great with the wear of them. And then that gets me into the Clothbounds. The Clothbounds, like I said a million times, they're gorgeous, they're beautiful, they're trophies, they are stunning books. They do not wear well at all, which is so sad. So I have seen, like I showed you guys, some of the backs of them. If you take the sticker off, the sticker lifts the waxy part of the design, the color, not the cloth, but the actual design, it lifts a lot. And then I have seen a lot of people, when they read them over a longer period of time, or even for a short period of time, the oils from your fingers tend to pick up the color of the design. So that's another reason of why I don't read from these, because I want them to stay in pristine condition. I've also seen the spines get warped a bit, and so just overall they don't wear well, which is so sad. But I feel like these are the kinds of books that most people buy them for aesthetic purposes and to not read them, at least from what I have seen, and that's exactly what I do. I love them. I love how they look on my shelves. Will I read them? No. So it's kind of up to you. If you want to get a book to read, and you like the Penguin English Library collection, I would say pick up the paperback, because even paperbacks to read, I find paperbacks easier to read, and they're not so clunky. Like, you can even see, I haven't opened this, and it's giving me resistance. The paper is super thick, and you can see it's sticking up on its own. Like, this paper is really thick, really great quality. The cardstock is really great quality. These books are expensive for a reason, just because I'm sure the money that is put into the design and the creation of them is more high-end in the book world. It also has a ribbon bookmark, and I just feel like they're gorgeous. Are they worth the money? I think aesthetically, yes, but practically to read, no. So I really think it depends on what you are buying the book for. If you are buying it as a trophy like me, then I think it's definitely worth your money because they are just such beautiful editions. I know Coralie puts so much thought and effort and time into her designs, and I love supporting her and her collection, and Penguin, of course. And yeah, so I feel like you need to ask yourself, what are you buying this book for? Are you buying it to read it? Or are you buying it for aesthetic purposes? But yeah, so that's just one thing to be majorly wary of, is that these don't wear well at all. They stay in perfect condition if you don't touch them, which sounds ridiculous, but if you are a book collector, then I feel like it makes up for it. It has an introduction, okay. This also has a chronology, so this does have more information. Oh wow, oh, it actually has a lot. Okay, let me show you close up. So this is everything that comes inside the edition. So these do have more notes than the Penguin English Library editions, but again, I don't buy these books for the notes. If you want really good notes, I would suggest the Oxford World's Classics editions, or the Penguin Black Spines are really great. If you want beautiful books with beautiful covers, beautiful color design and everything, these wear really well. These not so much. This has more notes, this doesn't have as much notes. So I guess you have to pick and choose what you want from the book that you're reading. If you don't mind too much if it doesn't have notes, then these are great. If you want more notes, maybe go with a different edition. But anyway, so I think that's all that I have to say about the different editions and my thoughts on them. I definitely think they're worth the money. The reason why I have so many is because I love them so much, so I highly recommend them, but you just have to ask yourself what you want the book for. Anyway, so yes, that is all that I have to say about the Penguin English Library and Clothbound editions. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you liked seeing which books I have in my collection. I can't wait to keep growing my collection, so maybe I'll come back in a year and show you how my collection has grown and changed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Look forward to many more classics collections in the future and talking about different editions and the pros and cons and everything, so if you want that more information, I will give it to you in the future. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you soon in another video. Happy reading. My arms.